What's up guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to a new football video, and today the Jupiler Pro League kicks off. The 26-27 season starts today on a Friday, so that's what this video is going to be about. Like and subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate that, and let's get into the video. So today I'm going to make my prediction, so the ranking as you can see, then we're going to look at my FPL team, and I really want to take FPL seriously this season, and then after also take a look at my Sora lineups for this weekend, but I'm already going to spoil it. I have not bought crazy players, I just have two simple teams. Now let me start with the table prediction. Obviously this one is impossible to get correct, but at least you can like see, I predict these teams to do well, these teams maybe to go down, but of course mid-table surely is very difficult to predict. Anyways, let's get started. I'll start from the bottom, so 18 team will get relegated to the champions. And I'm going to start with my 18 team, which will be automatic relegation, and that will be SK Beveren. Beveren still need to do some transfers. They haven't really done that much during preseason, off-season. Yes, they flew through the league last year. They smashed it completely, went unbeaten. They were crazy performance last year. But right now, I don't really see the quality to do stuff. They really need a good start because a lot of teams are still in a mix, need to do transfers, have injuries, and that's what Bandit did 2 seasons ago. Because during the season they lost almost everything, but because they had a good start, they stayed in. So I think that's needed for Beveren if they want to stay in. But right now, I'm not expecting much. Then 17th place, another team that got promoted, and that's Lommel. Yes, they have the Manchester City group money. Yes, they have Nippon and will probably still do some transfers. Right now, they're not stacked at all. They still desperately need a couple of more transfers defensively, but also maybe a little bit more in attack. And yeah, I also don't think on the long run, if you look at the entire season, they'll do enough to secure mid-table position or escape the relegation matches. They have potential. I like that there's another club from Limburg in there, but I don't think they'll do that much. And then the last team will face a second division team for promotion relegation battle, a playoff, and that's La Louvière. So maybe I should put it like this. La Louvière have done a lot of transfers. It's insane. But the quality that they brought in are of course players that may show some nice things, but they're not proven players. It will depend on whatever they'll do. If the group is really collective, if they not get along with each other, which can be possible because it's like 10, 12 new players, then things can get really tricky. They could surprise us, they could finish a lot higher because they have many new players, maybe the surprises, but for now I don't think they'll have the quality to do something, but maybe a little bit more quality than the newly promoted teams because they already have some players already 1 year more experience in the first division, so I also don't expect them to finish bottom last. Then if we move on to the next category, 15th place, I think we'll finish Leuven. As a league follower, I make lineup predictions, etc. I really hate Leuven. There's just no consistency in that team, and I know they've got a new coach, etc. You can argue a new season, but it has been like that for a couple of seasons. They have so many mediocre players, and they never do a proper rebuild. So again, I don't expect Leuven to do much. 15th place, they avoid relegation, but again, like past 2, maybe even 3 seasons, they just don't do anything at all. They win some games, they lose some games, and then at the end they finish right above relegation space. Place like the past 2 seasons, they finished 14th in playoff 2. So yeah, they don't really do much, and also don't expect that to see next season. Then 14th place, one above them is Cercle Brugge. Cercle Brugge, they have some consistency in terms of they didn't lose that many players or that many crazy quality players like they did in other years with, for example, Dankel and Marshall. So I think the rebuild is not necessarily needed there. They have some interesting signings like Ndala, they managed to get Van Zer again, and their back three looks to be pretty solid. So I actually think they can do something. Will they push for a playoff 1 spot, playoff 2? Why do I always keep saying playoffs? Whoa. Will they push for top 6 spot, top 10 spot? I don't know. I can't see them doing that, but I think they have a solid season. I don't think they'll be in the relegation zone, and I don't think they'll be in any trouble, but I also don't think they'll make it teams above them that difficult. Of course, they will win some games in the mid-table range, but I don't think they'll cause the top 4, top 6 clubs any trouble. Then the last place in this category, 13th place, goes to Zulte Waregem. They have done okay things, but yeah, they lost Ehrenberg, Opoku, maybe even lose Amenta, who knows what the transfer window brings. And yes, they signed some replacements, but they're all young guys. They're not like immediate starters. Maybe they'll start again. They maybe immediately start, but they're not expected to carry the team like Ehrenberg did, for example. But the foundation is still there, and I think most players have the experience to do better than, for example, a Lommel, a Beveren, or even a Leuven. So I don't think, same thing situation as Cercle, I don't think they'll have much trouble surviving, but I also think that they won't really do much in terms of causing other teams trouble in the top 6, top 10. So that's the last place in this category. And then we move on to 12th place. 12th place I have Antwerp. Antwerp, I really don't know what to expect because they're sleeping. They just got a coach 1 week before the season starts. They still need to do a couple of transfers. They're looking to sign some nice experienced players. So who knows, at the start of September they look to be a very, very decent side. But for now I don't really know what to expect. And Antwerp, they don't have the money. They also need to do some kind of rebuild and they just don't do it. So I also don't expect Antwerp to do much next season. Antwerp might be a team, if you're a top team and you play Antwerp away, that can cause you trouble if you're not in form or Antwerp has some decent weeks. But I don't expect Antwerp to surely not compete in the title race and also not for European football. So 12 for a top club is maybe low, but on the other hand I give my reasons why I don't see Antwerp doing that much. Then moving to the 11th place, and maybe a surprise, is KV Kortrijk. Kortrijk, they had their squad, they had their foundation already at the start of preseason. They trained with everything. They did transfer, surely they did improve, but they have their team set. And of course, transfer window is still open for around a month. Things can still happen, but they have their squad. Unlike Beveren or Lommel, we still need to do transfers and build. They have their squad ready, and I think that's a big asset to have in this league. Because yes, the league doesn't start at the end of July anymore like past seasons, but still it's very important to at the start have your core. And yes, Kortrijk have a very difficult opening. First 3 game weeks are very rough, but I think they can take advantage of top teams playing European qualifiers or still needing to do transfers and are not really adapted yet. So I think they'll have a very great season. And I also like their players. Then next up we have, what do we have, 10th place, and that is going to be SVV. SVV have lost a lot of quality. I think people really overlook that. They've lost Ito, Yamamoto, Jöklerud, but in attack as well, Goto, Muya, and that's a lot of quality lost. Now they'll also play European football. I think they'll play Conference League and not Europa League, but still, those players are not used to playing 3 games a week, 2 games a week, so I don't expect them to finish in the top 4, top 6 anymore. But 10th place with some nice results in Europe, I think they'll be happy with that. Surely if they keep competitive, if they stay competitive, not like they get smacked by top teams every week and then win against the relegation side, you guys get what I mean. So I think SVV will also be pretty happy with such a season. And then on 9th place I've gone for Westerlo. Maybe a little bit high considering they sold the half of their starting 11, and of course they signed some replacements already, but of course the quality is lower. I like their project. If I look at their starting lineup or their squad, I think there's surely potential there. And maybe it doesn't click from the start and then they'll have not that good of a season as finishing 9th, but I really think the potential is there. They have a nice striker in Basset, they signed 2 wingers, they have a decent midfield after all with Sander as well joining and Fofana. Defense, we'll have to see who plays, but they also signed a new left back, new right back, so I really trust them and I think they can have a very decent season. But again, not finishing in the top 6 or anything, just a solid mid-table team that will get the job done and will never really come into trouble of relegating or anything like that. Then we move on to the next category, 5th to 8th place, and on 8th place I have KV Mechelen. I saw a lot of people predicting them to be higher, which I do understand considering they did very well last year, but you have to see during the playoffs they got absolutely smacked every week, and right now their squad looks pretty weak. They didn't sell that much yet, some players on free transfer. Van Brederode is still there, I still expect him to leave, but right now at the start of the season, and that's maybe a bit biased because it's just the start, it's not the entire season, but the squad is pretty meh. Of course I still predict them to finish 8th, which is still on the higher side of the table, but I think if they would face the STV, Westerlo, Antwerp, Kortrijk right now, that they wouldn't easily win. So it depends on what transfers they do and how it clicks with their new team, because they do still have a couple of new players, or at least have to sign some more players, but that remains to be seen. But at the end of the day they have the quality to finish 8th. On 7th place I have Charleroi, and maybe this is a weird reason, but Charleroi is basically the same starting 11 as last year, except they lost Titraoui and Kamara, their midfield, but I really expect them to fill it up nice with Khalifi and Boukamir. I really like them. They didn't play much last seasons, but if they played in the cup or when one of them was suspended, I really like what I saw. And their defense is basically the same. They have the same goalkeeper, so it's 10 out of the 11 guys the same, and I think that will pay off surely now at the start maybe where teams need to adapt. they basically have the same squad as last year. Yes, some backup players left, some new players have been signed, but the starters, the foundation is still there. They have the same coach from the end of last season, so I do think that can pay off, and that's why I have them finishing 7th. 6th place goes to Standard, and that's also pretty unpredictable because they have some new signings, trying out a new system. But the signings they made are pretty interesting. Obviously, they don't have the biggest budget, but they managed to sign a couple of interesting players, surely up front, but also in midfield. And someone in defense like Lavallée is also an elite signing for me. Maybe if they lose someone like Epolo, or maybe Abid gets some interest, I don't know, then I would put them lower, because I think that the guys that really need to help the team that were there last year will be very important to help the new players integrate. But right now I really think they can do well, and that's why I have them 6th. The last place of this category goes to Ghent. I think they'll finish 5th. Ghent, they disappointed me right now because they've already played 3 games in the European qualifiers. Yeah, they went through for a first round and I won their previous game, but they're really not convincing me. And I feel like the Mill wants to force his formation, wants to force certain names in that starting 11, and that just doesn't work. And again, they still have some mediocre players where they need to get rid of, and they also still need to do some kind of rebuild. They need to load off a couple of players and sign some real quality, or at least players that will not flop and actually have a bright future. Ghent will always finish around 5th, 6th, 7th. So 5th for me right now, because again, Standard is a bit tricky. What will they do? Same for Mechelen, Charleroi, maybe a little bit more steady, but there's also a lot of uncertainty in that mid-table, so then I would still expect Ghent to finish above them, and that's why I have them in 5th place. In 4th place, I've gone for Anderlecht. I don't think they'll really put up a fight to compete for the title, to compete for 1st place, but I like their squad. They have so many talented players, and last year, injuries, less form, coach instability, it wasn't there. But for example, their attack with Sikan, Svetkovic, Antman, they really have quality, and their defense looks to be solid this season. Of course, they have injuries, but the centre back pairing looks solid. Gozmans is a solid goalkeeper. Yes, they play European football. Will that play a role? Surely, but I still think they finish 4th. Also because, yes, stability is maybe not the right term to describe Anderlecht in the past years, but I think they have more stability, or they're more safe, or more mature, or I don't know how to call it really, than the teams below them, like Mechelen, like Standard. We're not really used to performing at that level. And yes, they have 3 games, 2 games a week, Anderlecht, but finishing top 4 shouldn't be a big question, or something that should surprise everyone if they manage to finish top 4. 3rd place, sorry, I may be going for the boring and the usual prediction, is Genk. Genk have done some crazy transfers like Ehrenberg and Durosimi, the record signing striker, and they still have a pretty nice foundation, though they still need to rebuild a bit. Sell players like Sadiq, Kayembe, Van Kromwijk, they still have work to do in the transfer window, but at the end of the day, if you look at their names, they're not bad names. Their attack of Durosimi, Ehrenberg and Ito, then they have Heymans and Heine. That's a pretty solid team. No midweek, they don't have European football, and I think that will be better than, for example, Gent, who do play European football, probably. And yeah, Genk really need to finish top 4, or at least compete for the title for a while. Otherwise, the 2nd season in a row will be a disappointment. I don't think Genk have that click yet to compete for the title. I think surely they'll be up the leaderboard until the end, but I really don't think they'll be in January, February in conversations like, yes, Genk is a serious title contender. I don't expect that to happen, but obviously also because Union and Club Brugge are just so strong. But I do think Genk will have a better season. I don't think that's a hot take because they finished 7th without European football, but I do think Genk will comfortably finish in the top 4. Then the top 2, I probably don't have to say which one is which, because yeah, if one is 2nd, the other one is 1st. But at the top, I went for Union and Club Brugge 2nd. Because Union have some crazy squad depth, and I know quality over quantity, etc., but I feel like Union, yes, Super Cup they won just about it, they weren't great. Yes, against Bodo they might fail to qualify for Champions League, but if you look at the names, of course Sykes out is a massive blow, but I really think they have a very good squad. They have so much talent, even on the bench. And Club Brugge also, what a team, as you see what transfers they can pull off, signing 2 players for more than 10 million euros, that's insane. It will be a hard battle, but we all saw the stats, we all know the Club Brugge most of the time without playoffs don't finish 1st. Surely they'll know now that they need to win during the regular season, they can't count on the playoffs, but still I think Club Brugge will come short. And also the games between Union and Club Brugge will be dependent on whoever finishes 1st. I do really think it's going to be between those 2 teams again. I'm not saying they'll both have a 9-point lead in 2 months already, but surely if we head into later in the season, February, March, I don't think all 4 teams or 5 teams will be on 3 points of each other. I do think it will become clear later in the season that Union and Club Brugge will fight for the title, but at the end I think it might be Union, though I don't have to discredit Club Brugge. They're an amazing side. What they're building with transfers they're doing is insane. But I think Union will maybe play Europa League and Club Brugge will have pressure of performing in the Champions League, and I think that could make a difference. Alright, surely let me know what you think, because I'm always interested to see other people's opinions, whether you don't watch football at all or you also super following all transfer rumors, all predicted lineups, all whatever, all news, watching all games. It doesn't matter, always looking forward to see other people's thoughts, because of course you can say, oh no, that's not true, but you can also think and look at other people's opinions. Now let's look at my FPL team. I played FPL for the past 2 seasons, but most of the time I quit throughout the season because it's fun, but also, yeah, it's boring over time. Surely if you don't have a community or if you don't have people to play with. But now make sure to join the link in the description. We have a Jupiler Poly Discord with almost 1,000 members where a ton of people are playing FPL, so it's very fun to play with each other. This is currently my team, and I already made the team for the weekend, so the bench players are the players on the bench. In goal I have Apollo and Coffee. I think 2 very decent options. Standard can really put up a very defensive side, and when they play at home, and last year we saw that as well, that Apollo got plenty, I wouldn't say plenty, but had a lot of clean sheets. And Coffee, of course, for the best team defensively, I think, if you look to the past years in the world. Then we have 2 Club Brugge defenders, can't go wrong with that. Mamar, really like him, and he'll play much with injuries at Anderlecht. And then McAllister as 4th defender. And 5th defender is Konate, almost forgot him, he's a defender. Cheap option, will play for Cercle at left back. Left wing back, left mid, will have some opportunities in attack, so maybe some assists. Who knows, we'll have to see, because he didn't play that much last year. In midfield I have the Genk boys, Heymans and Ehrenberg. Ehrenberg might need some time to adjust, but I think they'll both do have a pretty decent season. Khalifi is cheap option, 4.5 million if I'm correct. He'll be the next in line. Zorgan, Titraoui and now Khalifi. He has the talent, as I mentioned before in the video, and I really think he'll be a solid player. Now of course, being a solid player and scoring well in FPL are 2 different things, but I think he can score pretty okay. And then Antman, I really like the transfer, I haven't seen much of him, I don't know him that well, I'm going to be very honest. I don't want to sound like an expert, or I watched games at Rangers, no, I don't know him that well, but he should be a starter at Anderlecht, and Anderlecht are still a very top team, really a top team, so I do think they'll do well, and Antman will surely pick up some goals and assists. Then maybe the best trio here, Sikan really surprised me what he did in the first games this season, European qualifiers. I really like him, and I think he can have a very good season if he starts, if he's fit, if he is given the trust. I really think he can bang in 20 goals, I'm not even joking. Tresoldi, we know what he can do, Golden Boot of last season, I think he's a must. Solis was a must last year, I didn't have him, I'm not going to make the same mistake. I think Tresoldi is a must, and of course if he doesn't perform and then someone who has another striker will do better, I know, but on the long run I think Tresoldi is a must in your team. And then Durosinmi, not necessarily because I think he'll bang in 20 goals, but he was pretty cheap compared to someone like Tresoldi or the other top attackers, so that's why I put him in. And I think him in combination with Ehrenberg and Heymans, if Genk have a nice fixture, is a very good combo. If they can smash 4-0 at home, there's a big chance that all 3 will be involved by goals. And then as midfielder or attacker, I guess, I have Atrok. From Zulte Waregem. He did well during preseason, I really like him, he's 20 years old and he might pop off. Will he score every week? No, but in nice home matches from Zulte I'll surely use him. So that's my team, I'm not planning on using any booster. As mentioned, join the Discord, there's a link to our private, league, so you can join and compete with each other, so that's very, very nice. Then let's quickly look at my Sora teams. I'm going to keep it very short because I also don't have many teams. I have 1 team for the first week, 320 points, 1000 essence, should be doable with this team. I just hope everyone starts at Louvière. And then I have 1 more team, let me navigate to it. No, that's not the right one, in Arena I guess it's called. Not this one, yeah, I kept to 60. I have some classic players from the Belgian League and other lineups. That's this one with Nozawa, Lutonda, De Koene, Van Mervenne and Nkoa. Nothing spectacular, maybe I'll get some essence, but as mentioned I didn't spend much. But I am buying a La Louvière collection. I mentioned before that I did many transfers, and I like that, maybe something artistic, but yeah, many transfers, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things can happen, you don't know many players, so I'm building a collection. I still need to complete half of it, I have 19 of 29 cards, still need to complete it, but I'm going to do it on a slow pace. I don't need to rush every player, so I'm just waiting for the nice opportunity if they dropped in price. So that's my plan on Sora this summer. and I'm not going to spend a lot like last season. Last season I deposited €1,000. I'm not going to spend that much this season. Now, for now, that was it. Let the season begin. I'm very hyped to see a lot of games this weekend. 9 games, one on Friday, all the rest in the weekend. I'll watch all games. Yes, I'm unemployed. Yes, I have nothing better to do. No, I just like it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, as mentioned, your ranking, a hot take, whatever. And I'll see you guys in the next video and in the Jupiler Pro League Discord server. Bye.